Hello, welcome to Chopper's Charts. Phase 4. This is it. After this, it's just fine-tuning everything. So Phase 4. Phase 4 of Chopper's backtesting plan. This is where you've gone through phases 1 through 3. You have created, you experimented, you created a set of rules that you're going to trade by. You're going to know your setup, you're going to know your entry trigger, and you're going to kind of have a pretty good idea of your trade management. You have proven that these rules work. You've proven them. You went through phase 2 and you proved that they all worked. And then you spent time in phase 3 to gain the ability to spot these rules, the setups, the entries, and the exits. Meaning you've pretty much through phase 2 and phase 3, you should be pretty familiar with your trading rules. You should be pretty dialed in to the technique that you're wanting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get to that point where people always want to focus on the money. I call it the trade management. This is where we manage our trades. In phase 3, you started to tag some of these things to help you find a direction to kind of help find get this going and kind of fine tune this. So we're gonna review those. We're going to talk about the things that are coming up next. But the two main things we're going to learn here in phase 4 is risk management. This is the most important thing. I don't care if you get nothing out of this, get this. Risk management. This is saving your money. Too many of us, myself included, come in thinking, oh, I can make so much money. If I do it this way, I can make more money. If I do it this way, I can make more money. I can do this, I can make more money. That has done nothing but cause me heartache. It has caused me a lot of time lost because of chasing the money. I want to say that in the last 2 months, 3 months, when I was going through my phase 4, I started really focusing on the risk management. And I find a newfound pride in knowing that I'm not giving the market my money back. I'm going to have losses. You're going to have them. And yeah, you're going to start your risk. You're going to go into a trade with 1% to 2% risk, and you're okay with losing that. But why give it to it? Why give that to the market? Why give the whole thing? Why not preserve as much of that as you can? What if you go on a losing streak? And I'm going to give you a little insight on that. You go on a losing streak. Do you want to give the market 1% and 2% and 1% and 1% and 2% and 2%? This is it. Risk management. Man, just if anything, risk management. We're also going to learn how you can, some ideas and stuff, how to increase or scale in or any other method to increase profits. As you can see, I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on this. There are things you can do. You can backtest. You can find systems. You can find repeatable ways of making or increasing your profits. But we want to focus risk management. First thing we're going to do is go to our phase 3 tags that we set up. We set up some phase 3 tags that had to do with trade management. We want to review the reports on these in your TradeZella. You want to go to the reports, look at your phase 3 tags. You want to start fine tuning and saying, okay, you know what? I like this. I like that. I don't want this. I never used that. And kind of clean that up, because we're still going to use them. But now we can kind of clean it up a little bit, and we can get a little tighter on what we're going to do here in our trade management. We'll find out what is working, what is not. Some items may just not have enough data. You should have at least more than 20 trades for it to be worthy of data. So if you're looking at something that says it's got a 90% win rate, but you only got 5 trades on it, it's not very accurate. If you got something that has a 60% or 80%, but you got 20 trades on it, that's pretty accurate. Maybe you want to keep those guys. If you got something where you have 30 trades and you find out this thing that you thought worked really well is showing you a 30% win rate, and you've got 40 trades on it because you liked it so much, I think it's time to toss it. Time to reevaluate that, because it's not working. So you're going to go through that report. You're going to go through that on TradeZella and fine tune all that and find out what works. Then you're going to decide what you want to focus on the most. You can keep those tags. You can add some. You might have some new ones, some new ideas through phase 3 that you thought of, and you might want to add a couple of items in there. That's fine. So we're going to clean up the tags, and we're going to add the following, because now we want to add more that'll be focused on money. So we want to note whether we increase the size. So say you're trading one contract in the minis or something in the micro futures, and you want to see, like, maybe if I got 2% risk, I can now go in with 2 contracts, or I added a contract or something. So you want to know, you want to tag some way of letting you know I increased my size. Did I increase maybe 5%? Maybe you went and thought, you know what, I can push this. And I highly recommend go try it out. Check it out, because it might help you from ruining an account. You know, throw 5% at it a few times. See what happens. See what that loss is like, because it can sting. And maybe you can do it. So you don't know. You just don't know until you've done it, you've tagged it, and you are able to review your reports. Your reports will tell you. The biggest thing is focus on those reports, because what we think works is not always the right thing. You want to know if you scaled in or out. That's always a good one to know. Maybe you're a trader who's doing a certain amount of ticks, or you like to get out at support resistant levels. Maybe you want to somehow note that you went in with 2 contracts that's increased size, and that you scaled out one contract at the support resistance level, and you let the second one go for more profit, or break even. You know, you at least got your initial piece of the pie. You want to know the ways you're trailing your stop. How are you trailing it? Are you trailing it behind every pullback? Are you trailing it behind every big candle movement? Are you trailing it by a certain, the price goes up 20 ticks, I move my stop loss up 20 ticks. You want to know how you're trailing your stop loss. It's always good to have at least 2 or 3 methods in there. And then any other item that you might think of that you can tag that will help you get a better handle on reducing risk and exit profitability. Controlling risk. I'm going to beat this one up, guys. I'm going to beat it up. I do not know how to express the importance of this so that you know this is the biggest key to trading success. Tell me a trading guru that you've ever listened to on YouTube that says, oh, don't worry about controlling risk. Don't worry about just throw your money at it. There's no one. And if they do, I'd question them. No one says that. It is the only thing you have to control over from entry to exit. When you enter a trade, you control your risk. When you're in a trade, you're controlling your risk. Everything else, you have no control over. It's the market doing the market. It is the only thing that will keep you afloat in this business. It is also one of the hardest things for people to do without fear. So there is a thing called FOLO, fear of losing out. We all heard of FOMO, fear of missing out. Thing called FOLO, fear of losing out. It's a very common one. If you've ever listened to Tom Haggard's books, talks about, the typical trader hopes on his losers and fears on his winners. We want to control it. We want to take pride in that. We want to say, look, I get into a trade at 1%. My risk at 1% is $200. I move that thing to break even without getting stopped out too early, prematurely. And I can do this regularly. I found a system that can get me to break even. Your break even, hey, you've got a free trade. Now it's a matter of preserving your profits. But building a pride and saying, market, you don't get more. You don't get more. You don't get my 1%. If I come in with 1%, I'm not giving you 1%. That's just a starting point. That's just letting me know I'm not risking too much. Because, you could enter a trade and it could just zap right back at you. And you could lose that 1%. It will happen once in a while. But if we can get that down, and if my initial risk is 200, and after a few candles, I've gotten that thing to where I'm at 150 and it turns around on me, hey, I kind of made $50. Okay, I didn't lose it. I was okay if I lost it, but I didn't. So it's just as important. Know what your risk is going into a trade. 1 to 2% is the ideal starting point. Everybody says 1 to 2%. I know some small accounts, it's hard to do. If your count is too hard to get in futures, is too hard to get to a 1 to 2%, I highly suggest Forex or maybe stocks in a smaller scale. Or a smaller time frame. But you've already figured that out, so you'll know. You'll know if it works. By the time you're here, you'll know what you're trading and you know what you can do. In the trade, how do you trail your stop to not actually give up that 1 to 2% and not get stopped out too early? This is probably like the magic formula, finding that magic formula. How do I do this? How do I get that stop up quicker, but not get stopped out early? That's going to take some time. That's going to take some work on you. I can't even give you an ideal. I can't even give you tips because we all trade differently. This is that experiment. What will work? I trade the Tory trendline system. I have a rule where after 3 candles on the 4-hour chart, after 3 candles have moved, I move up to the action line. If it's going to come back below the action line, there's a 90% chance it's going to fail. That is not necessarily a rule in the 1 hour, the 5 hour, the 1 hour, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 30 minute. So it's and it's not necessarily a rule on what your instrument is. It's a rule that I have found that has worked for me. And so that reduces my risk if I'm going in with 1% and after the third candle, which is 12 hours, I move up to the action line. Then I've probably pretty close cut that in half. You got to work on that. Figure that out. What is that? I know in the Tory Trendline's trading system, she says to move it up along the safety line, and that is a good safe process. If that works for you and you like that, then do it. If creating a steeper safety line and getting that trailing that stop up quicker helps you, then do it. However it works for you. This is your trading. This is your money. This is key. If I'm okay losing 1% on a trade, how much better off am I if actual loss was 0.5%? Now I can afford to lose 2 trades for the same amount. I basically saved. You're probably going to make 1%. So if you risk 200, you're going to make 200 on a trade, right? So if you had 2 losing trades and you only lost 5% or less, and you get a winning trade, you wiped it out. It's done. Now, what if you did 4 trades? You had 4 losing trades, and you were getting so good. You had a couple break evens. You had one that was 5% and one that was a 1% loss. You lost 1.5% on 4 trades. You had 4 losers in a row. The next trade is a $300 winner. You just made $150. Is that making sense here? This is the key. This is why all the gurus tell you need to know how to control risk. Tell me a business out there in this world that says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just throw it away. It's okay. Oh, we'll just, go ahead. We don't have any work for you. I'm in construction. So I see this. Oh, we don't have any work for you. So why don't you just, stand there for 8 hours?" I mean, we don't do that. There's no way you're going to make money if you throw money away like that. This is the same thing. Don't throw your money away. You're going to lose money. This is a given. If you want to be a trader, you're going to lose money. I don't care how pie in the sky you have of making money, you're going to lose money. And if you've been through Tori's Trendline training or anything, she'll tell you the same thing. You're going to lose money. You need to be ready to be a loser. But how much you lose, that'll be up to you. How much you're willing to give the market back. If you're starting out with a small capital, expect to slowly build it up. Controlling your losses will help grow it quicker by not giving the money back to the market. Let's look at it this way. You made a $500 trade. It's a really good trade. Now, how much of that do you want to give back? Because you're going to give it back. How much of it do you want to give back? I look at controlling risk as turning the lights off. I have this electric bill that's due, and if I can turn the lights off, keep my furnace burning, a little less, and do all these things to help conserve electricity, when that electric bill's due, I'm not paying as much. I get to keep more of my money and put out less to the PGE. I'm trying to think of other ways. I mean, how can I convince you and make it so that this is so clear in your head? Getting to break even. If you took more risk trailing your stop to get to break even quicker, and then allow your trade to mature, and then follow to preserve capital after that with a little more ease. I mean, a free trade. It's a free trade. I kind of made that my goal. My goal is like, how can I get to break even quick? Not so quick that I'm going to get knocked out, but quick. I want to be at break even. Once I'm at break even, I have a free trade. Now I have an opportunity possibly to scale in, to let my trade grow and mature, to not feel pressure, and to hope it just keeps going. I can't do that if I'm still sitting there with $200, $400 risk, 1% to 2% risk. I can only get there when I'm at break even. If I have a trade turn around on me and I've moved my risk up to like $30 and I'm like almost to break, to me that's break even, and it takes me out and I lose $30, I won. To me, I won. That's a winning trade, because the market didn't get more than a good meal out, or 2 meals at McDonald's, maybe. If I start my trade with 1% risk and I finish that trade at anything less than that, I won. I conserved electricity. The electric bill came, but I didn't have to pay a full amount because I caught it and I turned the lights off. And I conserved electricity. Getting your slice of the pie. Taking profits. We want to do that, right? You're going to conserve risk. That's a big key. Conserving the risk allows you to get your slice of the pie. Taking profits. Most are trying to get the most out of a move. And when they don't get the most out of a move, they see this huge move. They're kind of upset they didn't get in early enough. And then they get out too early, and it keeps moving on, and they feel like they did something wrong. Like, that's not good. But you made $200. You made $100. You made $50. You got your piece of the pie. There are many pro traders out there that only take a certain number of ticks or pips or a percentage of a move, and they make a lot of money because they're consistent at it. They know how to get it. They know that I know a gold trader that will take a 100 pip move. She will scale in as it's moving up to the 100 pips, and she'll scale out as well. All in 100 pips. And she won't do anything more than 100. That move could go 200-300 pips. She don't care. She got her piece of the pie. That's all she needed. She made $11,000. She knows she's going to get a 100 pip move. She's confident that she's going to get a 100 pip move. When she goes into a trade, she knows right where she's adding. She's going to add 4 times, and she's going to take out 2 or 3 times. She's got that figured out. When she goes into a trade, she already knows all those numbers. It hits that number, add. It hits that number, add. It hits that number, add. It's that confidence. And it doesn't matter it goes 200-300 pips. It didn't matter. Because she knows what to do. She knows that she's going to hit 100 pips most of the time. Some people use ticks to trade futures. They do ticks. They get in, they want 150 ticks. Anybody familiar with Tory Trades knows of a gentleman who trades, one of the coaches, and he trades New York Open, and that's what he'll do, 150 ticks. I know some people that trade, and they'll do that with their instruments on a couple different instruments any time of the day. They want 150 ticks. They don't care what happens because they know that as they get good with that, as they see that consistency, they know what to do. They know they can just go in with 3 contracts, 4 contracts, 5 contracts, and make that much more money. And confident to know that they're going to make it. So you're going to find out, what is that working for you? Maybe as a trend line trader, you're going to want to follow the safety line. How do you do that? How do you trail that stop up the safety line? How do you figure out your wiggle room? Is it, do I hold it back a certain amount of ticks? What does that look like? The goal here is, what can you do consistently to capture what you want? What is going to become consistent? Focus on wiggle room to allow price to move and yet not get knocked out too early. It's going to happen once in a while, but you want the majority of the time to be good. If you have a set amount, start looking for ways to scale up and scale out to allow a little more. Another concept, you go in, like say you're doing 150 pips all the time, but you got this desire to get maybe a little more. Go in with 2 contracts. I'm talking futures here. Go in with 2 contracts. You sell one at 150 pips. You move the other one up to in profit or break even, and you see if it plays. If you're at break even and it comes down and hits you, you still made your 150 pips on your first contract. Work it. How does that work for you? If you're using support resistance levels, experiment the same thing. You can do the same thing. Go in with 2 contracts, sell one at your support level, put the other one at break even, and see if it plays out. It goes a little farther. Icing on the cake. Cherry on the sundae. Biggest key here is focus on a system that is repeatable. Do not focus on the money. Don't focus on the money. You could, if you're focusing on the money you could have made, you're focusing on, man, if I would have gotten in earlier, if I would have just held a little bit longer, I could have gotten another $200. What this is doing to you is it's changing your proven actions. You have something that's proven, you know the action, and it's creating a scarcity mindset. It's telling you you're not getting enough. Or, people, they call it greed, whatever. It's a scarcity mindset. You want more. You only want more because you have the scarcity mindset. And that is just absolutely going to ruin your trades. It's going to ruin your profit. It's going to ruin you, and you're just going to struggle. Be happy. Be happy with what you get. I heard a trader one time say that he's only there for the entree. He doesn't need the appetizer, so he can make sure that the trade is moving before he gets in, and he doesn't need the dessert. So if he gets out and there's some left on the table, that's dessert. He doesn't care. I got the entree. I got the meat and the potatoes. He focuses control loss over taking profits. Get to break even quick to have a free trade. This allows a trade to mature. If you got a good trade, you're going to get to break even quick and you can watch it play out. Control risk by trailing stops. Reserve profits by trailing stops. These are the only things you have control of. You do not have control of how much money it's going to move, how much the market's going to move. You just want a piece of the pie. Save some of that pie for others. You can work on scaling up, scaling out, and scaling in. All these can improve profits. Did I mention control risk? Am I making it clear enough to control risk? Focus your attention on a system that is repeatably profitable. This will bring you consistent confidence in your trading, whether it's paper or live. You want something, that's all we're doing here. That's all this whole Chopper's back testing phase is doing, is helping build repeatable confidence in your trading. Okay, one more time. Control your risk. Find a strong plan to manage risk, reduce loss, and the rest will come. This will allow you to have a lower win rate. I don't know what I typed there. This will allow you to have a lower win rate and still be okay. All right? This will keep you from blowing accounts. Controlling your risk. Seriously, it's the total opposite. I always say we live in a world of opposites. That to be successful at trading, you have to think about not losing money versus taking money. It just seems the opposite. But that's what's going to be doing. I'm learning in my own trading how much I overlooked this rule. I really did. I'm just like any other trader out there. I'm no different. I wanted the money. I wanted the money. I wanted the money. I wanted the money. Had a serious case of FOLO. I could not stand losing out. If it started turning against me, I could have trailed my stop up to $300 profit, and it'd start turning against me, and I'd say, oh well, maybe $200 profit. It continued to move against me. Oh, okay, maybe $100 profit, and I just sit there and back it all the way out, and then I'm losing $200. Serious FOLO. I didn't understand how important, and how it's kind of fun now. It's kind of fun saying, no, you don't get that. I've had a losing streak along with a bit of tilt since I've been doing this. So it's been a couple months. And on average, I lost less than 5% of my allowable risk per trade. So I have a $20,000 account. 1% would be a $200 risk. My average loss is $112. And that was 10 losing trades in a row. And probably about 3 or 4 of those were just stupid tilt trades, because it gets to you after a while. But the thing I didn't do was give up on my risk. No matter how bad it felt and how hard it was and how much I knew I took a stupid trade and how much I wanted to make up for my losses and how much I wanted a winning trade, I never gave up on my risk. I held it. Entered trades with a 1% risk, exited with less. So I went on tilt. I lost 10 trades in a row. And I'm going to probably be able to make that back within about 2 or 3 trades. 2 or 3 winning trades. Maybe even one good one, but I'm going to say 2 or 3 winning trades. I'm going to make all that back in those 10 trades. Before this focus, that would have been more than double. That would have been, I already told you, I would have taken 1% risk, 1% risk, 2% risk. Go ahead, take it, market, have that. So instead of being down $900, $1,000, I'm also had 2 break-even trades on those too, but down $900, and I would have been down $1,800, $2,000. So in a way, even though it was crap, I won. And it gives me a bit of an edge to say, take a breather, step back. I'm in tilt. I'm having a bit of a struggle. Now, let's dial it in. And I'm not in crap city. The key was, though I went on tilt and I struggled emotionally, I never quit on controlling my risks. I will survive now, and I will quickly be back in the game. Like I said, 2, 3 trades, I will have wiped that out. And you do that? That's what you want to do. That is the goal. Find your consistent take profit method. This will help you lock in consistency and confidence. I hope I stressed enough on the benefits of controlling risk. This has been Chopper's Charts. Phase 4 backtesting. Enjoy. I hope this helps.